Hey there, my name is Chris Renezeder, and I'm the artist that drew this watercolor painting. I'd like to welcome you to this time-lapse video that I recorded of the process. And today I'm going to try something new by narrating what it is that I'm actually doing here. Maybe that will be useful information for somebody watching and painting along. What you see me do here is basically lay in the structure of the painting, drawing with the brush, so to speak. I used to do it with pencil. I no longer do that because I would sometimes be annoyed from seeing the pencil marks through the watercolors. I've now wet the sky and I'm beginning to put in the colors. This sky was quite a challenge because it was just after a thunderstorm had passed through and there was all kinds of colors in the sky. I took the reference photo for this painting when I went to visit the ruins of the Castle Aggstein with my wife on an excursion to a part of Austria called Wachau. It's a very hilly country with a lot of vineyards, and they have wonderful peaches there as well. And what you're seeing here is me trying to evoke that feeling of sunlight bursting through dark colors. And it's always a bit of you have to catch a lucky break to get it the way that you want it, and you almost never do, but I'm very happy with the outcome of this one. I'm beginning to put in the distant hills. You can see that I'm switching to smaller brushes. Always making sure that I don't have any too hard edges, because what is far away, it tends to be somewhat blurred by the effects of the atmosphere. And the closer I get, the darker the hills will be, the more saturated in color they will be. Not a distant grey like the hill we see way in the background. Going towards more green right now. Green, a bluish green. At the same time, I'm trying to be not too literal. I'm not trying to depict every single building I can see there on the far side. More going for an effect of leaving certain parts white to indicate building structures. And I'm already beginning to work on the fog on the far side of the river that is basically creeping up from the river or from the moisture that has fallen to the ground with a thunderstorm. When you're trying to create the illusion of fog, it's always important not to have any hard edges, because that's what fog does in many ways, is that it dissolves things. It makes colors bleed into each other. It makes shapes bleed into each other. So if you are guided by that principle, if you paint a landscape, then the fog you're going to put in is going to look reasonably real. Again, no hard edges, always softening. I'm not sticking exactly to what the countryside gave me and what it looked like. I decided that I'd like to have a couple more hills on the far side of the river to increase the effect of these stacked hills behind each other. But as often these things are unless you've spent your whole life in that area and you know those hills like the palm of your hands, you're not going to notice the difference. So even somebody that was on the ruin of the Castle Aggstein and knows the view from there is not going to be able to tell the difference. Again, we're looking for soft edges, unless, like on the right side of the building, I have a relatively close mountain that is actually before the fog, then I can go for a harder edge. But even there, I'm softening it off towards the right, so as not to lead the eye out of the painting. Going for the left side. This is the part that I liked least of the painting, or found hardest to create a sense of a realism. Especially not so much the flat part of the countryside, more like the hill towards the left. And I'm going to be going back there again to rework it because I'm not entirely happy with it. So I'm putting in the first values and colors into the river, along being very careful because I know as soon as the river is too dark, the whole painting will die. So, because you have such a strong contrast in the sky that will have to be reflected in the river. It has to be extremely light, and the parts where we see the light bouncing off the water. But where I can go into colors on the right side underneath that hill or mountain, because it's reflecting in the water, it's also blocking the sun from hitting the surface of the water. And the added benefit that I have is that because of this reflective nature of the water that I can use, it illustrates the fact that it is water, and that the eye immediately reads it as water. Here you see me drying the painting. I'm not using a normal hairdryer, especially in the morning when the family is still asleep. I don't want to wake anyone up. So I will use a kitchen tool that you can use to basically do crème brûlée. Yeah, it's a gas-driven device that basically throws a flame onto the paper. You have to be careful what you're doing, because if you get too close, you might as well burn the paper. Happened to me multiple times already. Now you see me flitting about on the page, correcting things, working on things that I don't like yet. I don't want the fog to go all the way to the right, because again, out of fear that the eye will travel out of the painting. So I move it in a little by covering the right side. I do all kinds of tidbits, and this is always the dangerous part, because you have to be afraid of doing too much. And again, you see me here going to the left side, where I said before that I'm not particularly happy with it. Again, I'm drying the paper. It seems I'm almost done. I'm signing the painting, which is never, for me, really the absolute final thing I do, because as you can see here, I always find something that needs doing. That the shape of the fog seemed too solid, so I'm setting these little islands of land poking through the fog in there. And then I realize, or I think I realize, that I want more darkness in the sky, which is usually never a good idea. Once your sky is done, you should never go back in. But this time it actually worked reasonably well. So now I think I'm actually done. And here's the final result. I hope you enjoyed watching me paint as much as I enjoyed painting this watercolor, and hope to see you soon. Bye.